What's up guys, it's your boy Vox and welcome to a really quick deck profile video for Master Duel, and this time it's going to be for the Relinquished 2.5 build, which is going to be the post Banlist build. This means that since we're losing Crystal Fibrax, he's getting banned, thankfully, but since he's getting banned, we actually need to change the deck a little bit because the playstyle can still be similar, but we still have a lot of plays that we can make. But we have to make them a bit differently since we cannot rely on Fibrax anymore. But even then, as you can see from the deck list with the Kaijus, the Super Poles, etc., this is still a pure going second build. But before we go straight into the deck profile, let me know in the comments down below what you think about this, give me suggestions, and obviously make sure to like and subscribe. Let's start with hand traps first. Obviously with triple Maxi, triple Ash, and then we also run the 2 Called by the Grave, and for the in-archetype hand traps, the triple Millenniumized Illusionist. It's pretty standard. If you have seen my 2 deck profiles for the Relinquished builds, you know what these cards are doing. Then for our normal summons, we're playing triple Tour Guide from the Underworld, our best normal summon. We use Tour Guide to summon the Sangan, and then you can either go for the Verts Anaconda, but obviously if you're going second and you use the Kaiju into one of his dark monsters, etc., you can obviously go into dark, and then with dark special summon his dark monster, so you can go further into your link summoning place. Obviously then for the other monsters that we run into the deck, we also run one Crusadia Arborea. In case you drew your Sangan and you don't have any other normal summons, you can normal summon your Sangan, go into your Almirage, activate the effect of Sangan to search the Crusadia Arborea, and then with the Arborea, special summon it into the arrow that Salmon Great Almirage points to, going to Verte for a pretty easy Destroy Phoenix Enforcer. Then for the other monsters, we're also running 2 Jester Conflicts because it's a free special summon, quite literally, to help you with your either link climbing, or you can even use this for Super Poly because it's a dark, so you can make one of your dark targets or etc. You get the idea. You use your Super Poly basically to get something off the board if you don't have any other option. Then obviously since we play DPE, we have the Denier, the Dasher, and the 1 Fusion Destiny. And then for the other one-offs, we're also running one Illusionist Faceless Magician. He is actually quite incredible because in grind games, he will help you quite a lot to recur your either Relinquished or your Fusion Relinquished monsters, whether that be your Millenniumized Restrict or your Thousandized Restrict even, which is quite helpful, let's be real. And then for obviously the triple Relinquished, come on, I mean, obviously, right? Let's be real. And then we're also running 5 Kaijus. We're running the triple Gadarla because it's a wind in case we're playing against Fluanderies, and then we're also playing 2 Dizukiru, which is quite literally the biggest of the Kaijus in terms of attack. And then for our spells, we're running 1 Harpist Feather Duster because backrow decks completely wreck us, so you need to have an out for this. Then we have 1 Instant Fusion because you can use Instant Fusion to go into your Millenniumized Restrict immediately. This is an easy way for you to get him out, and then you can easily recur him back with cards like your Illusionist Faceless Magician. And also, when you get him onto the field, you have one monster negation, basically, 1 monster protection, so you can actually go and play through that. And then we're also playing triple Preparation of Rites to search your Relinquished and the one of the 2 copies of your Black Illusion Ritual. We do not play 3 copies of this because this is a brick. You guys need to realize this. If you want to have this deck be competitive as possible but still retain its theme, you need to have at least 2 copies. The third is almost always a brick, so I would advise you to run 2. Then we run 1 Port of Prosperity. Since it's got limited, it's actually a fine choice for us to run. Usually you would banish 3 to 6, but most of the times your hand is fine. You would use this to banish 3 cards, and the 3 options that you could potentially banish would be either your Mad Dragon of the Swamp, one of your Millenniumized Restrict, or even your Thousand Eyes Restrict, because Thousand Eyes has limited uses in comparison to your Millenniumized Restrict, which is going to be most of the times the main option that you would get out from your Relinquished Fusion, in which we're also playing 2 copies of. You can also play 3 copies and try with this, but have found through playing this deck for years that a Relinquished Fusion being at 3 tends to be extremely bricky, and at 2 is, I feel like it's actually quite fine. And then obviously the 2 Super Polys to break the boards, which is quite incredible. Also, I have suggestions that I can give you. For draw power, for example, and from the previous builds, you know that you can also run triple Allure of Darkness, which is quite fine. Also, you could run the small Predaplan engine, which is the one copy of Predaplan Orpheus Scorpio, which is limited in Master Duel, and in TCG is actually at 3, which is incredibly powerful. And with the one copy of Predaplan Darlingtonia Cobra, which basically the combo would be you would normal special summon your Orpheus Scorpio, you would discard a monster, and then you would special summon Darlingtonia Cobra from the deck, and when she's summoned, you can either search your Super Poly, you could search your Relinquished Fusion, or you could even search your Fusion Destiny if you need that, which is quite incredible. Another option for your deck would be Fusion Parasite, which what that card basically does is it can be used as substitute for any fusion material whose name is specifically listed, which means an easy Millennium Eyes Restrict with any of your opponent's monster, if you have Super Poly, that is, obviously. Quite incredible card. You could potentially use this. It's quite nice. I actually run this one copy in my TCG deck list, and I have found that I have actually won more games than lost by drawing it. We could potentially try this. I haven't tried it in Master Duel yet, but I feel like it's an incredible option. You could also run triple Manji of the 10,000 Hands to search your Relinquished or the Ritual spell, but I have found that through testing, through playing with this, he's not as necessary, and we prefer to actually normal summon True Guide, to be completely honest. And then for the Super Poly targets, you could potentially add a Prankid's Rocket Ride in case you're playing against a lot of Prankids. That's an easy Super Poly target. And for whatever reason, if you're losing against heroes or whatever else, which you shouldn't, because if you're going second, you just wreck them with your Kaiju Super Poly. But even then, one Vision Hero Adoration requires 2 Super Hero monsters. Quite easy to get, and quite an easy Super Poly target to get. Even though if you're playing against heroes, most of the times, your Dragon of the Swamp, your Starving Venom would quite literally be the best target. But even then, I just wanted to give you an option so you're aware that it exists. And lastly, since branded Despia has become quite prevalent in the meta since the release, with the new support that they received a few weeks ago, you can have 3 copies of Dimensional Barrier to be added into your deck, because that card says declare a type, whether that is Fusion, etc. If you're playing against branded, you call Fusion, they're basically fucked, it can't do anything. So this is a quite incredible card that you could potentially add into every single one of your decks. If you have space and you don't know what else to put, Dimensional Barrier could be one of these cards. And then for the extra deck, the standard ratios that you're probably used to, 1000 Eyes Restrict with the 2 Millennium Eyes Restrict, which is quite fine. You could potentially write the 3 copy, but I have found that 2 copies is more than enough. 1 Dragon of the Swamp, and then the 1 Starving Venom Fusion Dragon with the 1 Predaplant Dragostapelia for your Super Poly targets, as well with the Predaplant Trifioveretum. This is quite a hard name to get, which is basically a Solemn Judgment on field, and you can basically just get it with 3 Dark Monsters on the field. If you're playing against branded Despia, this completely destroys them. And then obviously we play the 1 Destiny Hero Destroy Phoenix Enforcer. DPE is insane, and that is for the fusions. For the links, 1 Relinquished Anima, because you have your Kaiju, you would use your Kaiju into one of the other boss monsters, basically summon the Kaiju into the area in which you can summon your Relinquished Anima and take that monster back, which is quite easy. Your Almirage for your Shangan in case you drew him. Then obviously the Predaplant Verta Anaconda. Why this card is still at limited? Come on, Konami, ban this fucking shit. This is quite incredible. Obviously we run this. Then we also run Dark the Dark Charmer. Finally we got him in Master Duel. He's quite incredible. He will help you link climb basically if your opponent plays any dark monsters, which is quite prevalent for Master Duel. Everybody's playing dark monsters, whether that's Dragon Link, Branded Despia, etc. Not Prankins, Phantom Knights, you get the idea. Then with 1 Nightmare Unicorn, the 1 Selene Queen of the Master Magicians, since we're still running the Knights and Sorcerer for the target, in case you have her, you can either normal summon her or whatever else, so you have this to basically go into her in case you need that. So then you could go to your access code Talker to basically OTK your opponent if you need them. But most of the times you will rarely, if ever, go this high into your link climbs unless you have completely dominated your opponent, then he has no responses. Then obviously you could do that, but then obviously you want to have the options in case you need them. So that was basically it for this really quick update for the post-banlist build for the Relinquished. I just wanted to get this out so you guys can be prepared for when the ban list actually hits Master Duel and you still want to play Relinquished to the Raglander, this is one build that you could potentially play, and I feel like it is quite nice, quite strong. It still retained the theme from the first Relinquished build that I gave you guys a few months ago, and I think it was June, right? I think it's June. You can still have your Super Polish, you still have your DB to rely on for your grind games, but it's basically a little changed since we have Dark now out, so we can go more into our link plays if it's necessary. Either way, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll be seeing you on the next one.